Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and this is Coach Powell Training and Development. This is Coffee, Tea, You, and Me. For those of you who have been following me, you know for the last 2 years since COVID started, I've been doing this show every Friday from 3 to 5, helping entrepreneurs, business leaders, sales professionals, anybody who I can that falls within the SWAM business universe. SWAM is an acronym, right? Stands for Small, Women, and Minority-Owned Businesses. Those people who are been left aside, set aside, kind of left behind in a lot of different ways, need to have access to meaningful information, meaningful people, meaningful professionals. And today I have for you two super special guests. One I've known for a long time, and I consider her, one of my best friends and one of the most competent professionals I've ever had a chance to meet in my world of networking. And that is Miss Sheree Warwick. She is one of the founders of the Black 10K Project, and she's doing so many things for business development and business opportunities for so many people to help get them involved with investing and learning how to invest in business, not necessarily in the traditional market space, but to really think about what it takes to become an angel, what it takes to become a venture capitalist. How do you start to participate in the first stage startup investments of small businesses, specifically Black-owned businesses? And so if you're interested in that, you're definitely going to want to stick around and listen and help Sheree. Also, I've got Mr. Adolphus T. Minor. Adolphus is an amazing commercial realtor. He has great experience and great talent. He's a person that you could depend on. He's got the character, heart of gold, the kind of person that is going to do what he says. It means what he says, and he's going to do what he says, right? He's that person that you can put your trust and faith in. He's a good brother, and I'm so glad to have him on the show today. Today's show specifically is the next installment in a series we've been talking about. How do you get yourself, your business, your ideas? How do you move from mindfulness to the kind of high performance that you're going to need to have in your job, in your career, in your business, whatever you need to do? So that trajectory from mindfulness to high performance. And we started off talking about what was mindfulness. How do we create mindfulness? How do we create an awareness of what's going on, what we're doing, how we're doing it, all that kind of stuff. And then we moved into, from mindfulness, you begin to know what you can be grateful for. You can begin to see things that will create gratitude in your life. And it's hard to be grateful but upset at the same time, right? So the more gratitude you have in your life, the more you start to understand, how you can start to begin to manufacture what we now call satisfaction and happiness. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we get to satisfaction and happiness? And how do we begin to leverage satisfaction and happiness to create the kind of performance we need to create within the cultures of our organizations that we belong in or lead, and within ourselves in terms of what we deliver for our own performance? So let's talk about it. Satisfaction is going to be key. Before we get into our topic today, before we meet our guest, I want to remind you that this show is a passion for me. It's a love of my life, but it's something that I need your help with in order to have people move forward. I need you to subscribe. I need you to like. I need you to engage. Fill up the chat box. If you are here for the first time, or if you're coming back to visit us, let us know who you are, where you're coming from. Let us know what city you belong to. Let us know what organizations or businesses that you represent. If there's something that you want us to share, definitely put it in the chat, because it might be an opportunity for us to share if you have a thought, idea, a comment, anything that you want, go ahead and throw it in the chat. That's a good thing. My fellow guest will be presenting ideas and stuff like that, and we'll be sharing their information as well. Guys, I'm going to remind you, if you have something that you want to share with people, how to get in contact with you and everything, go ahead and put that information in the private chat as well, because if you put it in there, I'll be able to share it when you're talking across the screen. Now, before we get the show started, we always have a little bit of an introduction, and I want to show you a beautiful video that my good friend David put together for me. I really love this thing. And so it might be a little loud for those of you all who hear it for the first time. So might want to adjust your speakers, but I love this thing. Check it out. I love that intro. First up, that we're going to introduce before we get started today is my good friend Sheree Ward. I've known Sheree, it has to be close to 15 years, if not more. She and I were in so many different networking organizations together and networking groups. She's always been a powerhouse of a person. She's the kind of person that, you know, you can trust and lean into. And she's made it a part of her life's commitment to be able to share with the rest of us how to invest in businesses. How do we strategies that help us get there, help us grow, and do amazing things. She comes to us from George Washington. She's a GW graduate, man. She's a chief of financial matters, and she understands everything there is to know about business plan writing. She knows about blockchain investment. She knows about how to develop QuickBooks and so on and so forth. And she's just been a rock star. Everything she's done, she's touched and been an amazing representative of. Coming to us from the Kogod School of Business at American University and the George Washington University School of Business. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my favorite blockchain expert, I give you Miss Sheree Warwick. And if I can figure out how to get back to my own broadcast and get her on screen, we could make that. There it is. I found you, Sheree. Here you go. Welcome to the party, Sheree.
Thank you so much, Marvin. Hey, everybody.
Sheree, tell us about yourself. What are you up to lately? What can we depend on? What are we looking forward to coming from the great Sheree Warwick?
Okay, so first of all, I am Sheree, and I started off as being a bookkeeper within my mother's business. That's how Marvin and I first met. And that transitioned into me being a business plan writer. Long story short, my mother needed a business plan in order to get a bank loan. And I wrote the business plan for her, and the bank said it was one of the best business plans they had ever read. So I started getting other people asking me to write their business plans for them. And 12 years later, I'm still writing business plans. I've been writing them full time now for many years. And then I began to notice that a lot of my Black clients were not able to raise the funding that they needed from private investors. So I started the 10K Project. We are the largest community of investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses. We have about over 18,000 in our community, over 2,000 members. And we focus on, if you have like $100, if 10,000 of us come together and each put in $100, that's $1 million to help fund that Black-owned business. And from there, we are able to not have to beg venture capitalists, the bank. We can fund our own businesses. We can profit from our own innovation. We can create jobs in the community, and we can work together to build Black wealth. So the10kproject.com. Thank you, Marvin, for putting that on the screen if you want to learn more and if you want to join our network.
Fantastic. It is so good to see you. Always good to have you. Just seeing your face brings back so many good memories of working together in the networking organization and so on and so forth. Where do you see this thing going? Where are you going to take this project? Where do you imagine, if I were to ask you the question, 10 years from now, what have we done because of Black 10K? What do you think?
I think we will grow to 1 million members. We will be able to raise. So right now, the legal cap on the type of investing that we're doing is $5 million per business. We'll be able to raise $5 million in 48 hours. We will raise billions of dollars per year. And we will have the world looking at us going, well, what's going on over there? I want to be a part of that. And the truth is our investors are not just Black people. We have people from all races and ethnicities that are joining our movement as well. So yeah, I mean, that's where I see us headed. And I also see us being able to influence future laws as well, where we're called because our voice is important and we get to have a seat at the table, invited, and, in order to say, okay, well, what else does the community need in order to progress this forward? So, yeah.
That is fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sheree Warwick. If you want to get in contact with her, you can find her through the website right here on the page. Hit her up
Yep.
in the chat. If you got questions for Sheree, definitely hit her up in the chat as we go along for today. We'll be back with her. But for now, I want to bring in, as we say goodbye to Sheree, you want to bring up my buddy Adolphus. So let me tell you about Adolphus. Before he comes on stage today, I want to make sure you know how super powerful this brother is. I mean, when I get a chance to meet people, I always promise you one thing. I will always bring them in front of you and make sure that you get a chance to play with them as well. I'm going to put both Sheree and Udolphus's LinkedIn profile in the chat for today so you guys can know how to reach them. Let me tell you about Udolphus. Not only has he been a realtor for a number of years, it's tremendous experience in helping entrepreneurs and business leaders find that right lease, find that right space, make sure they're doing what they need to do to create the business opportunities for themselves that they need to do. But he's got a heart of gold. He's the kind of character, kind of person that I say has character, not just a character, because he is a character as well, but he has character. You know, he helps so many people and so many things, and he does it because, you know, he just loves people. He loves working with people. He's been involved with real estate since 2016. He's working on his CCIM. And for those of you who don't know what that is one of the highest degrees you can get in the commercial business world, learning about commercial real estate and property. And he's dedicated to, you know, growing his network and growing his intuition and making sure that he has all the knowledge and all the experience he needs to master this thing. And he's doing amazing work with amazing people. He comes to us through the Wharton School, the University of the District of Columbia, and he's just a super intelligent, super smart, super capable friend. And I'm so glad that he's on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I bring you my friend, my brother, Adolphus T. Minor Jr.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm good, thank you. I'm blessed. Yeah,
so
how's
Adolphus,
everybody
tell
doing? Let's see. What can I?
Tell us about yourself.
What can I
Go ahead.
Sure. Well, obviously, I'm pretty passionate about real estate, commercial real estate in particular, and this passion started when I was barely a teenager, just kind of dreaming. One particular day in our home in Southeast DC, and aside from wanting to play pro ball one day and artists, it was real estate, and then I learned about commercial real estate in particular. So fast forward to 2005, I decided to stop procrastinating and move forward on his goals and dreams and aspirations. So, of course, Marvin mentioned that I'm a former printer also for a very long time. I was printing the U.S. currency. Last speaking about a so-called regular job in 2013, and I took the leap of faith to embark on this vision and made a transition from residential to commercial. So I really love the industry a lot. I love serving people. I've always been a people person, and I'm a glutton for knowledge. So that means that my clients are going to get the best advice, best guidance possible that I can give them to help them make sound decisions regarding their commercial real estate needs. It could be leasing space, it could be purchasing space or properties, investment sales, and it goes on from there. So it's just a small microcosm of who I am, and I'm looking forward to enhancing on a career.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Sheree, my brother. If I contact you 10 years from now, what are we going to be doing? What is the impact? What will we have delivered to the universe?
Oh, that's crazy. I would say I would be a multimillionaire, and not just necessarily for the sake of the money. Of course, I want to take care of my family and build generational wealth, but to be able to give back to the community. I have 3 or 4 different foundations that I would love to start that are very dear to my heart in regards to that. So I would say being a multimillionaire and opening up my own uh, brokerage, if you will, and a printing company, a small to mid-sized printing company, could be uh, in that plan also too. Another thing that I always thought that I would do is write a book, and I want to write a book based upon my journey, not only in printing but more importantly in real estate, because it has been very challenging, very rewarding in a lot of instances. And I think it'll be a great motivator to anybody that's looking to achieve anything and they get to those hard spots, those detours that you see that are set up for you to fail and what have you, and just believe and trust in what you're feeling in your gut in regards to what you are passionate about and that you would do pretty much free. I think it'd be a good thing. So that's one thing I want to be able to share with the world in regards to motivating, and it kind of goes on from there.
That is fantastic. Well, Adolphus, I'm gonna put you backstage for a little bit, and then I'm gonna introduce our topic for today. Today's topic, really cool. As I said earlier, we're on the next phase of a series. We've been talking about the trajectory from mindfulness to high performance. High performance is critically important, guys. No matter what we do, no matter where we are, no matter where we find ourselves in our lives, we have to get to that point where we know how to turn it up and turn it on whenever we need to. And there's a difference between being productive. You can be highly productive, but still not be a high performer. That pinnacle of opportunity, that pinnacle of success, that pinnacle of the best we can possibly bring to the table is when we can deliver that high performance, which we're going to get into maybe next week in pretty good detail. But it's important that you know that's where we're going. All the things we've led up to thus far is moving through and getting you to high performance. Today, we're talking about satisfaction and understanding what satisfaction is, how it moves throughout our universe, what are the benefits that we receive when we can embrace and create the kind of satisfaction we need. Because studies show that people who are truly high performers, organizations, teams, cultures that are high performance cultures, all have at the root happiness, joy, satisfaction. These are people they love what they do. They're doing what they're doing, not just because they're trying to get rich or trying to make ends meet or trying to do whatever. They love it because it's a part of who they are. It's in their DNA. It's how they experience joy, happiness, doing what they do. And when they get the chance to do it together, everything is magical. Everything works out perfectly because they're in so many different ways equally put together and equally committed to delivering high performance. This is what it's all about. So let's talk about satisfaction. Let's talk about what it means. Let's talk about where it came from. Let's talk about the original concepts of satisfaction and how we came to what we now define in this Western universe as a satisfaction. Because in order for us to know where we're going to go, we got to know where we start. Where do we begin? How do we begin to even think about or conceive of what satisfaction is? So let's talk about it. Satisfaction. What is it? Well, we all search for this thing, pleasure, fulfillment, right? We want our wishes and our expectations and our needs met. It's the pleasurable fulfillment of our wishes, expectations, and needs. So how cool is that? How cool would it be to have a situation in your life or have a life that is so full with satisfaction that your wishes, expectations, and needs are always fulfilled, and they're always fulfilled with a deep level of pleasure and enjoyment. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a satisfactory life. That is satisfaction. That is what we think about and conceive of when we talk about satisfaction, right? Most of us desire satisfaction so badly that we're willing to do all kinds of crazy things to get there. We're willing to make sacrifices. We're willing to invest in certain things and certain ideas and certain people. We're willing to, reach for and stretch our opportunities and goals and places. Sometimes we don't have no business going to, but we do it anyway because we're trying to seek that satisfaction. We're trying to find that pleasure. We're trying to find what it is that creates fulfillment in our hearts and our minds. I don't know how any of us are all going to get there, but I'm going to share with you some of the deepest research that I've been able to come up with over the last few weeks as I've been studying this and getting prepared to share this information with you. And I find that there are some key benefits to satisfaction, and I want to share those with you. First of all, when you become satisfied and you understand how to use and manufacture satisfaction, you become stronger. You become more resilient and flexible. You no longer have to worry about avoiding pain, anguish, rejection, those kinds of things, because you are strong, you're resilient, and you're flexible. That's thing one. Thing two, your heart's desires begin to be fulfilled, and you begin to see a world of abundance, not a world of scarcity. And that's important because you must realize that when this benefit of satisfaction doesn't exist in a universe where there's lack and there's separation, or there's opportunities that diminish. It's only about greatness. Satisfaction is about more. It's about creating more, delivering more, being more, expressing more, fulfilling yourself, achieving that mindset that says abundance is real. The next benefit of satisfaction is all about really understanding deeply in your spirit, what benevolence is all about. Understanding that there is enough for all of us. There's enough for all of us to go around. There's enough for us to share. We have enough, and everybody has enough. And what we have to do is figure out what it is, how we can share, and how not hoard what we do have, but release that energy and that opportunity into the universe, and how that affects our soul. That's a really, really important aspect to satisfaction. The other really, really unique benefit to satisfaction is learning how to automatically and collectively renew and re-energize yourself whenever you need to. How to recapture vitality and youthfulness. How to get that inner glow that is about wonder and amazement. How do you do it? How do you create that internally? That's it's a key benefit to understanding and being satisfied. The last aspect of satisfaction is truly about, and I would say it's a benefit as well, it's about learning how to be accepted, loved, and respected. And people oftentimes take that term respect to mean a lot of different things, but what it really means is finding that moment where your contributions, no matter what they are significant, they're meaningful, and they're powerful, and other people receive it as such. You hold somebody, when you respect somebody, it means you hold them in high regard. You adore them. Not this general kind of thing we've been talking about, I respect everybody, because it's impossible for you to hold everybody in high regard and to adore everybody. We don't have the emotional capacity for it. We can only respect those that we recognize and see something in them that we do hold in high regard, and we truly do have a level of adoration for them. So we've been throwing that word around, a lot, and I think that sometimes we got to be careful about the choices of what we think about when we say these words and what we mean by them, because respect is something that is a benefit of satisfaction. But if we don't even know what it is, or we can't describe it currently, we don't know how to find it. We won't know how to receive it when we do experience it. How do you experience respect? How do you experience acceptance? How do you experience love? These are all benefits of satisfaction. If you can't do it for whatever reason, because you never understood what those things are all about, we got to talk about it. Those are the things that we teach, and those are things that are very, very important, because sometimes we're already there where we want to be. We just don't know it because we haven't really developed the language to do that. The Bible says, and then I'm going to take a break and ask some questions for our audience and for our guests. The Bible says that no matter what obstacles we have or scarcity we face, we must trust that we can and will be satisfied, right? It says our faith will not allow us to be unhappy or disgruntled. That means you got to have faith in order to be satisfied. We can choose to allow our empty and longing spirits to be fulfilled with good things. Happiness is a choice. There's an appropriate level of renewal of our satisfactions that we should pay attention to. We have to pay attention to these things. If we don't pay attention to what satisfaction is, then it's very difficult for us to embrace it and know it when we see it, when we have it. Right? It's a practice we have to get used to doing. And we can find satisfaction in the universe. In fact, we can find our heart's desires. All we have to do is be willing to dig deep. Ayanna would say, do the work, right? To do the things that we need to do. And finding complete satisfaction is both re-energizing and renewing. This is how we achieve hope. This is how we achieve blessings. This is how we get to love. It's all embedded in satisfaction. So when you think of satisfaction, when you think of achieving satisfaction, and I'm going to throw this out to my guest speakers, and hopefully somebody in the audience might ask a question or two around it. When you think of satisfaction and getting there, what do you guys think of? And I'll let you go one at a time. We'll call on Adolphus first.
That's a good question. I would say for me, it's thinking about the things that I'm grateful for. In this particular journey, it's 9 years deep, building a very successful commercial real estate business. I've learned a lot of things in this journey, during this journey. And one of them is gratitude for the so-called quote unquote small things that are really big things. So for me, as far as that's concerned, when I started thinking about the journey that was very challenging and all the above in printing, I started comparing that journey to this journey in regards to commercial real estate and being in real estate. And a lot of ways they were the same, very similar, and then some not, different challenges. But the main challenge is just being patient, being persistent about what I'm in the process of achieving. And when I really got down in the dumps and started questioning whether or not I made the right decision or not, and even my wife was kind of sideways with what the heck is going on, I started thinking about all the challenges that I went through building my printing career. So once I came to that point and just realized and accepted the fact that, look, this is just part of the journey. This is part of the process, no matter what you're doing. So I started thinking about how that materialized and then looking at what was happening in the present. And it helped me to be more appreciative. It helped me to be more happy in the midst of the storm and knowing that I was on the right track. So I just think, humbly speaking, that you can find that in the most inconspicuous places in regards to that. So while everybody else was worrying and money was scarce and things of that nature, I had a certain calm about me that things were going to work out. And I had a lot of things grateful for, a lot of things to be happy about, satisfied with what I'd done to that point. So that's pretty much what I have to share as far as that's concerned.
I think a lot of times, it remind me, Adolphus, as you were speaking, a lot of times people mistake being grateful for standing still. A lot of times people think that, if I get too satisfied with what I'm doing right now, I can't move forward. And I'm of the belief that the gratitude that you have for the things, the beliefs, the culture, whatever it is that you're grateful for in this moment is a foundational for your growth. And if you don't have it, then you'll never have, quote unquote, enough. There'll never be anything that will satisfy you because you don't know how to find it
Yeah.
with what you already have. How are you going to find it with what you're chasing? I see your head nodding, sir. You got a thought in there?
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in here. I wrote down that, the original question was about satisfaction overall. And I think that satisfaction comes from two things. It comes from input and output, or it comes from the actions that you're putting in and the results that you're getting. My only concern with the gratitude thing is you can be as gratuitous as you want to be. And if eventually the output and the result is not what you're looking for, I don't know anybody who's satisfied with that.
Right.
So I think that sometimes we do need to be honest. Now, there are some people who are never satisfied. I'm not talking about those people, but I'm talking about, let's say that you want to grow a business, and your goal is to be able to um, grow that business so that you are able to take a salary and take care of your family and put some away for a rainy day. If you never get that action, it doesn't matter how happy you are with the process, you eventually will get to a point where you're not satisfied.
That's right.
So, um, now with that, I will say that satisfaction comes in increments. We can say that. Now, you are
Right.
starting your business today. It doesn't mean you're going to next week replace your entire salary. No. But do I see 10% coming in? Do I see 20% coming in? Eventually, do I think I'm going to get there? If I don't believe I'm going to get there, I believe you'll be very dissatisfied. So that's what I was thinking. I was nodding my head up and down, but I'm like, I have a little something different to add to the conversation.
Well, I think you actually said the same thing, because a lot of people feel like, when they don't want to be satisfied, don't even want to consider themselves satisfied, because
Mhm.
satisfaction to them
Right.
means they're standing still. It means like they're not achieving the things they want to achieve. And that's not what satisfaction is. Satisfaction is being able to recognize, how to pull yourself into gratitude whenever you need to, so that you can keep yourself from going crazy.
Right. Right.
Because if you are
Right.
always
Exactly.
reaching but never satisfied,
Mhm.
Right.
right? What you're going to find is that's a recipe for insanity. You start to invite in a pathology
Right.
in your whole universe and everything around you. People will start to say, like you mentioned it, Sheree, like the person who is never satisfied.
Mhm.
How long before that person becomes somebody that nobody
Right.
wants to be?
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right.
true. But
Right.
are you
Right.
satisfied or are you content?
Right. And
So,
I think sometimes we use the wrong words, exactly that,
yes.
to
Right.
describe the feelings incorrectly. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes that when we don't really take the time to explore this, we
Mhm.
make all the wrong assumptions,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and because it's easier for our brains to actually go there.
Mhm.
And that's what we're having this
Right.
conversation, because the science says that individuals
Mhm.
who don't know how to become satisfied, and that's a becoming, it's not an achieving, it's just deciding, right? That's a choice. We're going to go into a little bit
Mhm.
later. People who don't know how to make the choice to be happy can never be happy. And I'll explain to you a little bit later. Let me share with you what the research shows. The research shows that satisfaction requires three separate, I would say, understandings or ingredients, right? The first ingredient for satisfaction is faith.
Right.
You got to believe in something.
Right.
You
Right.
got to believe in something, even if it's yourself, but you got to believe in something. You got to have some faith somewhere. We're getting to that. The
Right.
second ingredient to satisfaction is recognizing your ability to make choices,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And then that third level of satisfaction, I think this is what people have the most problem with, is acceptance.
Mhm.
Acceptance that your control, whatever control you have, can only get you so far. And I think a lot of times when I think about acceptance, I hear that my mother saying in the back of my mind, you know, she'd always say, once you've done the best you can, that's all you can do. And so what you need to do at this point is accept that what you've done is the best that you can. And I think that, you know, there's something to that, but all the research, all the psychologists agree that, you know, you're not going to be satisfied if you don't have that appropriate balance between faith, choice, and acceptance. And that is at any moment in your life and any moment in your business. There's always those three things are at play: your faith, your choices, and your acceptance of what's actually going on, the reality of the situation. So let's take a little deeper dive into just the first level. We might not even finish today, depending on how much discussion we have and what's going on. I'm going to put you guys backstage for a little bit, let you take a break, and you know, drink some water, do what you need to do, so you don't have to worry about, you know, us blowing you up on camera, kind of thing. So here's what it is. When we talk about faith, let's get into it. Let's look at this. What is it? You know, what is this faith thing that's so important to satisfaction? Well, it's a complete trust and a complete confidence in someone or something. Here it is. And faith can be evidence-based, or it doesn't have to be evidence-based. But your complete trust or confidence in something is very, very important to your ability to then leverage it and create satisfaction in your life. The other part of faith, and that's one part, the other part of faith is a strong belief in something that's higher than yourself. It could be a spiritual revelation. It could be a belief in God. It could be religious doctrine. But what that is, it requires no proof, right? It might require some fear or some apprehension, but it requires no proof whatsoever. No matter what, your faith creates things and ideas and concepts that allow you to become capable, reliable, and truthful. All these things are required to create strength and what we call fidelity, meaning you can be honest and trusted and trustworthy and true. Very, very important. If you don't have these things, if you don't have faith, then it becomes very difficult for you to make what we call healthy comparisons. Here's a quote from Oscar Wilde, which says, "As long as a woman can look 10 years younger than her daughter, she is perfectly satisfied." So we were having that youthful conversation earlier, right? The belief that you can be what you want to be, you can be who you want to be, you can think about the things you want to think about, you can enjoy the processes that you want to enjoy, is an empowering thing. It allows you to be satisfied. Now, you can't do that if you can't believe it. So that same quote, if you think about it, if a woman can't look 10 years than her daughter, younger than her daughter, but she wants it, can she be satisfied? Think about that. You know, and it's not about the woman or what we're looking at. It's talking about the choice. It's talking about what is it that you believe that's possible for yourself. And if you believe that you can achieve the things that are possible for yourself, and you can see it happening, and you can find some kind of evidence of it, that's a faith that, you know, can't be shaken. That's something that you can build a whole level of happiness around it. But we do compare ourselves to others. In fact, we are comparative analysis machines. We look at others and we go, oh, okay, I want what they have, or I want to be like them, or I want to see what they see, or whatever. And it's not so that we could create jealousy or envy, but it's so that we could literally know what to hope for, what to aspire to, who to want to challenge or be like in order for us to grow as people. That comparative analysis quality we have is not something to set us up so we can compete with one another. It sets us up for our survival. It sets us up for understanding what possibilities are, what probabilities can be for us, what's within the realm of reality that we can see. Because somebody else did it, surely we can do it. If somebody else is doing it, then it's quite possible that we can at least attempt it, right? That's what I think that comparative analysis gives us to do. I know a lot of times when people look over in other people's backyard, and they want to keep up with the Joneses. They want to have what other people have, and want to be what other people have, and they want to be defined a lot by how other people experience them. And that's not what satisfaction really can go. It's not about looking outward in order to create the inward. It's really about looking outward to see what's possible, so that you can be hopeful, or even satisfied in the fact that you can be hopeful. Those things are very important. If it wasn't for, some of the wealthiest people on the planet, Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or, the Jeff Bezos, if it wasn't for those individuals, for us to see and look into and peer into their universe and their world, just take glimpses of it, would we know what the billionaire lifestyle would look like? If we decide we want to aspire to that, what are our examples if we don't see those things? So it's about that comparative analysis and understanding that the more we do compare, the more we can see what's possible. Now, we can't get lost or trapped into that, because this next quote I think is critically important. This one is from Noel Langley. He says, if you ever go looking for my heart's desire, if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard, because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. If I never go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard, because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. Critically important information when it comes down to understanding what you should stay close to and what you should run away from. Everything that you've been already blessed with is an entitlement that you did not have to have. It is a talent that you didn't have to have. It's a relationship that you did not have to have. It's something in your life and in your world that you have, not because you earned it, just because you are. That's called an entitlement. That's called a blessing in other people's understanding of it. And if you can't be satisfied with what you're entitled to and what you're blessed with already, what does that say about your ability to be satisfied with the things you actually try to reach for and earn? We got to learn to stay close to our gifting and stay close to the relationships that do matter to us. And I'm not talking about the toxic relationships. I'm talking about the loving relationships, the kind relationships, the enduring relationships, the ones that people are willing to make investments in us with, over and for, and not the ones that, are problematic or difficult to get in front of or around. These are important things for us to know, for us to do, for us to learn how to stay close to it. The last thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to faith is the fact that love and understanding love helps tremendously with this. When you love whatever it is you love, there's a clarity that is created in terms of what you think you might do or how you might behave because of what you love. Love allows us the deepest levels of transparency and purity. It allows the ones that adore us and the ones that we adore to experience us in all capacities, warts and all, right? So we can be coherent, we can be intelligible, we can do everything we need to do humanly possible between two people because we love each other. And then we can experience that ground level of satisfaction of knowing what that is, what it is to be unconditionally loved, and what it is to share unconditional love is a sense of satisfaction. But if you don't believe in love, if you don't have that faith we're talking about earlier, then it's going to be very difficult for you then to figure out, what are you passionate about? How do you know it's passion? How do you identify it as passion? How do you know that it's something that you'll do, like we were talking earlier, until you would do it for free if you could, but you'll just do it until you're no longer here? I mean, how do you know it's connected to your purpose? It's connected to your vision. It's connected to your values and who you are. So it really helps you to fall in love with you, to fall in love with your beliefs, to fall in love with the things that the things that you are gifted with, the things that you have talent, because it helps create the clarity you need to create. I always tell people about love. Love is the wellspring of hope. And what do I mean by that? When you know what you love and you begin to think, okay, if I could go deeper into this, what would my trajectory be? Think about it. I'm sure you love what you do right now, right? If you could do it at a higher level, if you can do it, be the best that's ever done it, whatever it is that you're doing, right? How could you then, if that's what you're focusing on every day, all day, is how can I be better at who I am and what I'm bringing to the table and what I'm contributing? How can anything divert you from that path? If you're that clear about what it is you love and why you love it and what it means to you, you're not going to have any more happiness diversions happen to you. There's not going to be any people from the outside or anything stimulants from the outside. It's going to take you off your path and off your trajectory. All you're going to be doing is working towards your purpose, towards your reality, towards the things that you know are there for you and that you believe are there from you. And your faith is going to drive you to keep pushing. It's when you don't have faith, when you don't know what you love, what your purpose is, why you're here. When you don't have a good idea about that, clear idea about that, then your path is murky. Then how are you going to get to whatever you're trying to get to? Anything can take you there. And it's not going to matter a whole bunch, even when you get there, because it wasn't started with the kind of foundation of faith that you need to have in order to move forward. Let my panelists back there, you guys have any thoughts about any of that you want to share? If you do, raise your hand. If not, I'm going to keep the party going. I got a few more minutes before I need to close down the thing. So I'm just looking at you right now, seeing you backstage. Anybody, are you all good? Sheree got something to say. Come on, bring it.
Yeah, I just love the idea of what you said about falling in love with you. And I think it's about honoring yourself. It's about respecting yourself. And that is, like you said, closely tied to the satisfaction overall and this mindfulness and this peace that we're ultimately trying to get. And, when people feel like it, well, if you ever get to a point where you feel like all hope is lost or you're not satisfied, you're not happy, I had Googled years ago, like how to be happy. And one of the first things that Google said is you have to decide you want to be happy, right? So when you mentioned before choice is so important. We do choose happiness. We do choose satisfaction, no matter where we are in our journey. So I just wanted to say that. So I had to drop out, but thank you, Marvin. Thank you, Adolphus, for having me here today.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you for playing with us, Sheree. It's always great to have you.
Yes, thank you.
Great seeing you again.
My brother Adolphus, how are you? You had some thoughts about this thing, this faith thing when it comes to satisfaction.
Man, you got to have a little faith to boost you forward in regards to achieving ultimately your ambitions and your goals and dreams. Before I left the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, I had a lot of faith that I was going to make it. It was just my mindset. It always has been, regardless of what I embarked on achieving. So, but yeah, it's obviously very important. Those faith muscles definitely get exercised in the process of you going through the process of being successful. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I can say a lot of other things in regards to that, but people underestimate that word faith and what it means.
Absolutely.
So your faith is not going to be 110%. But if you have enough faith to embark on taking that leap of faith, as it's called, and embark on achieving any particular goal that you have, it requires that. You can't do it without it and ultimately be successful.
I think what's incredibly important for people to know about faith is the evidence of your faith is the evidence that you believe in. And oftentimes we worry about the evidence that other people need to have of our faith in order to rationalize and justify our own faith. And I'm like, time out. My grandparents and my great-grandparents and my great-great-great-grandparents believed in something. That hope allowed them to plow through, to keep going, to never stop. It didn't make them sit still and just die. It helped propel them, and it helped give them a reason to keep going. Because they believed that better was just around the corner. Better was coming forward for them, and they had that faith and that belief in God and what God put in them, what God put in our community, in order for them to move them forward. And so, for me, when people start to question faith as something they don't have evidence in, I'm like, you don't believe in your parents? You don't believe in your grandparents? You don't believe that your great grandparents were about anything? You think their faith was useless? That's all the evidence I need. Now, you might need some different evidence. You need some different evidence to believe. And I recognize that, history is flawed. And I recognize that, our ancestors may have even been flawed. But I do also want to give credence to the fact that there must have been something good about what they did, because they survived long enough and hard enough to get us here. Of which I am, back to what we said earlier, grateful for. I'm grateful for existence, right? I believe that what's out there for me next is going to be better than what's happening right now. And so why am I wasting time, struggling and worrying about stuff that I can't control, but I can control my faith. I can control my beliefs. I can't control my values. So anyway, I said all that to close out the show. I'm going to continue this topic because I think we got a little deep in here. We're going to have to go a little deeper next week. So I'm going to continue this thing next week. Hopefully you can come back with us, Eudolphus. I'm going to put you backstage as I close out the show.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So just stay there. Don't go anywhere because I want to talk to you. All right. That wasn't a great show, guys. I'm glad you had a great time. I know I did. I'm assuming that you had a great time. If you want to get back to us, make sure you hit us up on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. Call me. My number's rolling down the screen. Whatever you need, whatever ideas or contacts you have, I want to be there for you. I want to make sure we catch you and get the things that we need to get done for you all. God bless you, and I hope you have a great day. We're going to close out the show. We got 53 minutes in, and we're going to end the broadcast. Bye, guys.